Hello, everybody. Welcome to a week one edition of Real Hawk Talk. I am Brian Nemhauser, and man, I got to tell you guys, I sat there designing the thumbnail for this episode, and I actually had F the 49ers as the title. And then I was like, maybe I got to pull back a little bit. So I don't know, man. Like you guys have asked before, credentials going to change me, and maybe a little bit. Like maybe just a little bit. I did put Earl flipping off, Bosa and Purdy on the thumb. So we'll at least take that. But Evan Hill, I know nothing will ever change you. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
I'm doing so well. I'm so excited to chat with you guys, and happy Josh is making a guest appearance today. It's rare.
I know we as usual. It takes some bullying, but we got Cable Thanos, Josh Cashman on the show. Man, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm filling in for Jeff, so I have big shoes to fill in for. I would rather watch the show with Jeff, so I'm trying my best, guys, and I'm gonna be a member of the chat. I'm gonna be representative of that. But I do want to say one thing real quick: is that me, Evan, and a bunch of other Hawk Blogger people who wanted in did a fantasy draft last night. Or was it 2 nights ago? It was whatever.
It was last night.
And Evan has Sam Darnold. He has Elijah Arroyo as a starting tight end. And this is like an 8-person league. And you have JSN. And then I think you have one more Seahawk. But there's one Seahawk he doesn't have. Can you guess who it is? Who's the most likely Seahawk?
Ken Walker.
He doesn't have Jason Myers.
Oh.
This ruined my entire night, Brian.
No.
I took him in like the 5th round.
Who took him?
I did.
Nice job.
Hold up, Jeff or Brian. If I
call you Jeff,
Brian, if I share the screenshot with you, are you able to like share it on the?
Just hold it up in front of the camera, dude.
It's like shitty quality. I don't know. I mean, you don't think you can share this? It's actually kind of funny.
No, not off your phone.
I prepped everyone. I was like, watch this pick, because everyone in there was Seahawks fans, obviously, and knew he was going to take him.
It was like, so Jason Myers is at the top, and then I don't know if this is coming in reverse for you guys.
It's coming in just fine.
Okay, and this guy freaking reached for him in the 13th, and I was planning to reach for him in the 14th. I was like, nobody's taking that boy.
I was thinking about I was like, what's the value I could get? I could get a guy who could like contribute, or I can get the value of seeing Evan's reaction. And I was like, that's way more valuable than any like
100%. That's like the way I talked about the Jalen Milroe pick being potentially the wild card, could be the best pick of the 2025 draft. I think you don't have to wait. I think you already made the best pick of that draft, man. That is
infuriating. Is Josh won't even turn around and sell me him for like a premium. I texted him late at night last night, like 10:30, and I was like, what's your price? Name it. And he's like, not for sale, in the most sarcastic tone ever.
We can move on from this, but I just want to say, at the beginning of the draft, he drafted a Seahawk, and the first thing he says is, I want it to be painful every time he scores. So now I had to draft him so that every time he sees a kick that like gets close to the goal line, that's like a extra point that's like a little bit too close to being missed, he gets a little bit painful in his heart every time.
You're not wrong. I was talking trash.
We've got a super chat I already got to put out here from Lost 206. Desperately needed this stream. Watching the Mariners is torture. And this is not helpful with Evan, because Evan will just make fun of Mariners fans. But it is misery right now. It is absolute misery being a fan of that team, as it has been for most of the last 20 years. And you know what? We're not going to talk more about the Mariners, but I appreciate the super chat. Boys, before we get into this game, I've got to dispel some myths that are out there. And there was this thing that broke yesterday. I'm sure you saw it. I think one 49ers reporter, I can't remember which one did it, said that 49ers fans were going to be 53% of the attendance at Lumen Field for this game. And then David Lombardi, the shill that he is, says the same thing. It's finally happened. It's going to be a 49er takeover, and references the same thing. So I've got a lot of inbounds about this. People worried, people wanting to know. So I want to clarify. And I've got a fair amount of information on this. And I say with some confidence that it's a lot more reliable than what Vivid Seats provided to a couple 49ers reporters. So first of all, Vivid Seats, which is where their forecast tool projection came from, has about 3% of the total seats in Lumen Field. And Vivid Seats doesn't have visibility into anybody else's sales information, so they have no idea what the other 97% is. And so what they likely do is have maybe the percentage of their seats that are going to Niners fans, and even that's questionable if they have the information they need to do it. But you're talking about maybe 53% of 3%, which is not a lot. The other thing I will say is that the information I have is that it's tracking towards being less than half as many 49ers fans this year as there were last year. And that's not only across the whole stadium. It also is, if you notice, there's this one section, the 100 level right above the visitors bench, which happens to be where the camera is always pointed, that is often opposing fans. Well, that's because that's where most of the personal seat licenses are. And they don't sell them to anybody. They'll just put them on. They'll sell them, outside. So they don't belong to season ticket holders. They're not things that, for the most part, they're not things that are being sold by season ticket holders. Well, last year, about 40% of that section, not of the whole stadium, just of that section, was 49ers fans. It's tracking for about half of that this year. So again, general information that I've got is that this 53% thing is an absolute joke. I don't think there's, even at the worst at last year, at most there was maybe 20%, which is a lot, but I think it was probably closer to 15. And so folks, the only thing I will say is go out and buy tickets as a Seahawks fan, go to this game, cheer your team on. And for the team, the only thing that's going to ever really solve this more holistically, besides lowering prices and letting some, other, committed fans back in, is for the team to win. And let's talk about that as we transition into that conversation. So just wanted to get that out there for folks. Evan, you're going to be at this game.
I'm so excited. The last Niners game I was at was with Jeff Simmons. Was that Thanksgiving 2 years ago?
Yeah. Well, you were at the opener last year.
That was the Broncos game, though, right?
Broncos, yeah.
Yeah. No, but there was a game last year or 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, that was Thanksgiving. Yes.
That was Thanksgiving, where we got our asses kicked, and that was demoralizing. So that's my recent taste in my mouth from a Niners game. But guys, it's not the question you asked, Brian, but my hopes and expectations are extremely, extremely, extremely high going into this weekend. I listened to your pod earlier today with Grant Cohn, Brian, and something just resonated with me. I forget which one of you said it, but I've been I think the vibe as Seahawks fans over the past couple of years, we've just chalked up every single Niners game to a loss for the most part. I know they split the series last year, but Pete Carroll had dominated us, or Pete Carroll was getting dominated by the Niners for several years in a row. And all of a sudden, they don't feel so much like a mammoth sort of Goliath type of opponent that is unbeatable anymore. I'm not quite sure to make anything of that football team, actually. I'm not sure what they're good at. I'm not sure what they're excellent at. I knew what they were excellent at in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. I'm not very confident in that football team anymore. I don't view them as scary. I don't view it as an immediate chalked up loss on the schedule anymore. I struggle to think of a single area where they're hyper excellent at, and I just know we're going to get our teeth kicked in. So I'm optimistic. I really am.
Josh, what's the first time you remember watching the Seahawks play the 49ers?
Oh man. The first time I have a conscious brain.
Yeah.
I think probably like I have like a vivid memory of like Seneca Wallace playing against like the who's their coach that wore the suit every game. You remember him?
Oh,
You're not talking about the
like
guy.
Nolan,
Yeah, that's like
Mike
ingrained
Nolan.
in my. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's probably it. That's probably where it is, and that's when they're bad. So, but we
They
were
were
also
really
bad.
bad. They were really bad back then, for a long time, like really bad. And
Yeah.
it's funny because I don't know, they just kind of snuck up as a rival for a while. Like the Rams were initially the Seahawks rival in the NFC West. That was the greatest show on turf when the Seahawks first got into the NFC West, and then it took the Seahawks finally beating the Rams to kind of get to the Super Bowl for the first time. And the Niners were like non-existent for all of that. And then all of a sudden, when Harbaugh got here, it just started getting like the best. It was honestly like not just because the Seahawks won a Super Bowl, that was awesome. But those games, that was like the best Seahawks team ever. And I would go into those games nervous as hell. Like I had no idea if the Seahawks, like I thought they were going to win.
Yeah.
But I was so intimidated by that Niners team. Those were amazing football games. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be amazing. I feel like there's just as much of a chance of the Seahawks winning handily as there is of this being a really close game.
I mean, what are they excellent at? Who are the San Francisco 49ers? Like, what do they hang their hat on? 2025 football team.
Well, I mean, go through the best players. Like Nick Bosa, Fred Warner.
Sure.
Excellent players.
CMC, Kittle, Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Ayuk.
Ayuk's not there.
The corner, I always forget his name.
Yamador Lenore.
Yep. Is that it?
This does feel like the first year in a while where they just don't have like endless talent. Like every year it felt like they always had like a bunch of young guys coming up who you'd play against and they'd be like pesky, annoying because they have that upper level talent. They've always had that, but they had so much depth. We like some random, like remember Alden Smith was like, he Seahawks legend, but he also was like their fourth pass rusher and he would just dominate the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And I felt like every game, and there was always another guy who was that Alden Smith guy or like another corner or DB or safety or something like that. And this year, it just feels like they have like their top. They have like a top, and then it's just a crater of talent of just like practice squad. Not that bad, but it's pretty like
That's pretty
after the top guys.
Thin spots. Can I read you? I wrote this in my tail of the tape this morning, and I kind of went just deep on how much that team has changed. Let me just read to you the 2019 49ers, which won the NFC Championship, went to the Super Bowl and lost, which was awesome. But who they had on defense. They had Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner, Nick Bosa, DJ Jones, D Ford, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Azeez Al-Shaair, Richard Sherman, DJ Reed, Emmanuel Mosley, and K'Wan Williams was a really good nickel. Their 2023 NFC Championship team had Javon Hargrave, Javon Kinlaw, Chase Young, Talanoa Hufanga, Charvarius Ward. Of all the names, all those names I just read, and that's not including Leonard Floyd and like all the other guys that they've had, only two are left from all those defenders. And like that's to me what the 49ers were, is just wave after wave of badass athletes and that you just really didn't want to have to play. But also the thing that was great about playing the 49ers is you knew you were good. You knew you could beat anybody if you could beat the 49ers. That's why when the Seahawks went to play the Super Bowl against the Broncos and everybody, including Marshall Faulk, was saying they were going to roll us, I was like, I actually think it's going to be the opposite, right? Like, but when you guys hear the injury report for the 49 for this game, I'm curious. Honest answers only. When you hear Jawan Jennings is going to play, when you hear Dominic Pooney is going to play, when you hear that the 49ers are generally healthy, were you like, cool? Or were you like, darn?
Can I say mine real quick? And
Yeah.
it didn't make me happy at all. and this is very embarrassing to admit, is that I was like, God damn it, David Lombardi was right.
You're not allowed to say that on this show, Josh. That's your best ticket to never come back.
He was closer to right than I wanted it to be. Okay,
Yeah.
that's it. He wasn't exactly right about being the healthiest. What do you say? The healthiest team since 2022, which is still not true. Like Ayuk is out for who knows when. Half their team is injured still, but it's way more healthier than I expected. But even then, I'm still like if they were fully healthy, that doesn't really change much for this team. It's a roster makeup rather than a health thing. Is why I think they're like cratering in the middle. They're kind of like the opposite of the Seahawks in a way, where the Seahawks have no top level talent almost, but they have so many guys who like build out a roster and who are like great starters, but no like outside of Leo and hopefully Witherspoon this year, there's not like blue chip guys. And that's all the 49ers have is like 3 blue chip guys and like almost no one else.
Evan, what was your response?
I had no reaction. Like, I'm not scared of this football team at all. I want them to be at full health, frankly. I don't want excuses when we beat them by 2+ touchdowns on Sunday. I don't want it. But I think your point, Jeff, or not Jeff, good God, I'm so used to talking to him on a Wednesday.
Jeff's on our mind. We all send our best to Jeff, so
yeah,
I understand.
We love you, Jeff. We hope you're good. I love your point, Josh, though, about like, I think, and I know you even talked about it earlier on the show today, Brian, with Grant, like, I think there's a strong case to be made that Seattle, although they don't have like the top level blue chip all pro, count in aggregate, that's higher, they may still have the better roster. I think Seattle has a better roster than the Niners do. Like, they do not have, 5-6 blue chip guys, but they have far more depth. And if we go position group by position group, there's only really like a couple of key positions where they do have edges at, but there's a lot that Seattle does too.
Let's do that real quick.
Okay.
I'm not going to go through all of it, but like, let's talk about where the 49ers have an advantage.
Yeah.
What comes to mind for you guys?
Running back. I think you have running back, tight end.
I do think they have an advantage of linebacker too. Just Fred Warner is like, we have so much uncertainty. Like Tyrese Knight, I think is really good, but I think there's a ton of uncertainty there. Ernest Jones is still kind of developing in a new system. And there's definitely some ups and downs when he joined too.
Let me clarify my question, because I hate to interrupt you, Josh, but
no, you're good.
I'm talking about like Kittle versus the Seahawks defenders, or CMC versus the Seahawks run defense, or CMC as a receiver against the linebackers.
You're talking like the matchup.
Yeah, right. Like, it doesn't matter if their running back's better or worse than our running back individually. Like, it's more, where do they have an advantage on the field? And so, like, Nick Bosa.
Sure.
But here's the reason I kind of bring it up, and I want to hear other thoughts that come. Like, Nick Bosa's first one comes to mind. They're going to be able to shift all their protection to him all the time. Who else is going to scare you on that line? You're going to dare Bryce Huff to beat either Charles Cross or Abe Lucas one-on-one. No question. Like, that's not even like, you don't go into that game saying, oh man, we have to split our attention across Armstead and Buckner and Bosa and Huff or whatever. It's Bosa. And so I'm like, yeah, that's an advantage, but you've got to plan for it. So what are the, like, Fred Warner's another one. What are the other advantages that you guys see, honestly, that the 49ers have?
I do think McCaffrey, if he is healthy, like I could just picture him tearing us up like he has in the past, but that's a huge if. Like, it is sucks that we're catching him week 1. But outside of that, it's tough to say. When I do think Fred Warner, again, like covering, like, our tight ends are pretty weak. Just on paper, we'll see. But outside of that, I don't see.
From Josh Cashman, I didn't expect that.
It's the best linebacker in the league. Come on, it's a close one.
Well, I will say this one matchup that nobody is talking about: position group battle. They have a real kicker problem over there in San Francisco. And let me tell you, Seattle does not have a kicker problem. So, Jake Moody, baby.
You better not eat those words on Sunday, man. If Jason Myers loses this game,
he's not on my fantasy football team. He's actually on that guy's fantasy football team.
I will have both of you. Like, oh my
Hey,
God. No.
don't put me in this. Don't put me in this.
So, like, CMC run defense. I mean, how do you feel about the Seahawks run defense?
Much better than if I were the Niners. They have one of the worst groups in football. Like, have you guys gone down their defensive line? Like, it is a bottom 3-4 unit, and it may be worse.
I agree. And that's part of where I'm like, if we flip this over, we'll come back to 49er stuff. I think that's part of where the confidence comes from. I feel like the advantages the Seahawks have are bigger and harder to mitigate. Like, if the 49ers are unable to stop the Seahawks run game, if the offensive line does dominate that defensive line, then what's San Francisco's move? Like, the whole game might come down to that.
I love what you said about that first drive. We're going to find out real quick. We're going to find out real quick if Jordan Elliott, Mikael Williams, who hasn't, I don't know how many practices he's even had in training camp. I think it's literally less than 5. Kalia Davis, and then those rookies that they drafted, like, are they going to be able to, stop the run? Because last year, I was looking at some stats. So they were 28th overall in run defense, but against outside zone guys, they were 31st. And I know they've turned, over some talent and gotten some new faces on that side of the football, but I just think they're putting way too much reliance, pressure, whatever you want to call it, on Alfred Collins, CJ West, and some of those rotational guys. Like, that's a tall task, I think, for especially how Seattle's run blocking looked in the preseason.
But here's the flip side. Wait, go ahead, Josh.
I can't buy the preseason blocking. I'm sorry. I'm like, I want to believe it just as much as everyone else, but I got to see one snap of regular season play before I buy in. I want, because we've seen what 2 seasons of Anthony Bradford. Just
okay, but forget Anthony Bradford exists. What about that left side? What about center?
I don't think you can.
Gray Zabel chucking beers on the sideline in between snaps, like.
No, I think it's gonna be improved. I just want to temper expectations because I can totally see it.
I think that's completely wise. I mean, I am very bullish, maybe the most bullish on the Seahawks offensive line, and I am 100% aware that it could all come crashing down in a few series of this game. Because here's the thing, you go into this not only like Josh, even you, I think, would say this, even with your questions, the Seahawks have an advantage against the 49ers defensive line.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Like, even with tempered expectations, you expect the Seahawks to be able to move the ball on the ground against the Niners.
Yeah.
If they don't, like, is there any other thing that could happen in this game in the first 3 series that would have you being like, oh no, this is really not good? Is that the number one thing that could really sour your expectations?
I don't know if I'd ever go. I could, if they lose by, I mean, it's easy to say now, but honestly, if they play a terrible game, I'm still going to be on offense. Defense is a whole nother question. If they look terrible on defense, then I'm panicking. But offense, it's a whole new offense, a whole new quarterback, new wide receivers, basically new linemen. It's just like a whole new setup. It's going to take a while. Like, if you think about it, last year, our team just looked completely different from beginning season to the end. I just want to be patient on it. I think it could go terribly, because I was going back and watching, like, I did watch Sam Darnold's game against the Niners just to see, like, because I like to like visualize what's going to happen, like trying to picture him in a Seahawks jersey and everything. And it was like, everyone pictures that Justin Jefferson's pass, the one out of the end zone, which, by the way, they got backed up, and they had the sloppiest offense, one of the sloppiest offensive games in that first half. Outside of that, and maybe 1 or 2 other Justin Jefferson passes, they were so sloppy. Sam Darnold looked pretty bad. Like, a lot of his plays were behind the line of scrimmage, and I want him to be great, but I'm just trying to like, I don't want to be hurt, you know, and I'm trying to like realize like it is Sam Darnold. We are like, I did like I don't know. I just trying to temper expectations because I do think this team's gonna be good, and I keep saying like 12 wins, but I just it's hard to picture it with the setup we have. I'm sorry.
I don't think that's Evan, go ahead. I don't think that's crazy. And for me, first games of the year, I hate them. Like I love
Yeah.
it because you want to get the season started, but I hate it. Like it is the most misleading game. Like how many, just forget, like think about fantasy. How many guys pick up some guy that goes for 140 yards and then is waived like 3 weeks later on all the fantasy teams. Like it's always so misleading. And I was talking about with Matt Hasselback. It's like the 2 Super Bowl teams that the Seahawks have had, the first 2 that made it, they've had 3, but the first 2 that made it, the first games of the season, the 2005 team lost in Jacksonville. They got spanked. And the 2013 team barely beat Carolina with a last-second Jermaine Kearse touchdown. It was like 12-7. It was super ugly. So I don't think you can like completely conclude things, but I'm telling you guys, like for me, mentally, it's all about the Seahawks run game. If the offensive line does, like, even if somehow they run the ball well and they still lose, I still like, I'm going to be good. If they rush for like 50 yards against this defense and lose the game and don't like they have no answers, that's when I'm going to be like, oh shit, this has all been a mirage.
So what would it look like if they run the ball and lose? Because I can't see that. Like considering well what that means, but what do you even see that as losing? Because does that mean the defense plays bad? Does it mean Sam Darnold struggles? Like what does that mean?
Evan, what do you think? What would have to happen if the Seahawks run the ball well? Let's say they rush for 135 yards. That's not great, but that's good. But they lose. What would have to happen?
I think Seattle's defense has to not take a step forward in a way that we anticipated them to. There's been, sort of reports from, I think maybe you, Brian, and some of the other reporters that Seattle's offense has been getting the best of the defense in training camp and preseason so far. It would be, I think there's a sort of assumption in my head that this defense is just going to continue to be on an upward trajectory under Mike Macdonald, because that's what they brought him in as, the sort of defensive linebacker whisperer. That would be really problematic for me. I'm trying to think about who would get maybe picked on. I mean, is there a world where Iman Wari gives up a couple of touchdowns in coverage?
I think the scariest thing we can see is if the trenches like look like that Packers and Bills game where they're just getting shoved backwards every play. Like not even if they're getting more than like 4 yards, is if they just look outmatched. I think if that happens, that's like the number one thing that's going to scare me for the rest of the season. It doesn't even matter what the offense does to me.
Well, that's the thing that I think that's a great thing to bring up, because I was as confident as you could be going into that Packers game. I was like, man, this defense has turned a corner. They're going to be trouble for everybody. It was like the old Seahawks defense, like, okay, they figured it out. Now they're good, and that doesn't change. And then I was like, oh boy, they were just not even there for that first half against the Packers.
That was
such an ass.
And so you say, like, well, what did they do to change their run defense? 49ers come out and they try to bully ball the Seahawks. Trent Williams, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson. Well, nose tackles, like probably Quentin Bohanna. I'm not convinced Quentin Bohanna is great. DeMarcus Lawrence is probably the number one thing I would say is different from a run defense standpoint. I think he can make a big difference, but maybe not. Maybe the middle of the line is still leaky.
I'm this better not happen, guys. Like I have not only talked myself into a win, I've talked myself into a big win, and this would really hurt me. This would break me.
Yeah, that specifically would be rough.
I mean, we'll get to predictions at the end. You and I are in similar mindsets about how this game should go, but also just realistically, the 49ers have a lot going on for them. Kyle, like even that offense that wasn't full strength last year was a top 10 offense and top 5 in some regards, and now they get McCaffrey back at full strength. Like I'm not, and Ricky Pearsall should be better this year. Brock Purdy is undefeated in Lumen Field and is super annoying to play against. The guy, when he can't throw the ball, he's one of those guys that runs for 15 yards and breaks your heart. Like,
yeah.
So I can absolutely see situations where the 49ers, actually the thing that's happening on Monday is everyone's like, the offense scored 27 points, but the defense gave up 35. How did that happen?
You know who's a wild card here that really makes me nervous? We haven't talked about him at all yet. He's not a player. It's Robert Saleh. Like, I'm a little worried about what magic he could pull out of his hat. I mean, he's a defensive coach, right? He's done a great job of maximizing the talent that he's had. I know the New York stint was like a complete disaster, but while he was still there, that defense was kind of hanging on in New York. I know that offense was a complete, nuclear catastrophe, but it makes me nervous that Robert Saleh is the perfect guy to get some of these rookies and some of these rotational players that I'm doubting on their defensive line to outperform their talent and their expectations. So that's a part that's making me nervous about Sunday. Am I alone in that, or do you guys share?
No, I think that's valid. I as I started all this, and we've been on it for a little while, I think we should flip one more time before we get to Patreon questions and some other stuff. Not spend the whole time anxiety provoking each other, but like we could go two ways. What are the things you feel most confident about in this game, and why? And I'm kind of like, let's just start there. What are the things you feel most confident about in this game, and why do you feel that way? Josh, where do you come in?
I think this is so counterintuitive to what I was saying this whole time. So, but I really do think the Seahawks are going to run all over them, and that's just going to set up everything. And I don't think that's because of Anthony Bradford. Let's just be clear on that. I think that's because of the Niners. But I think that's just like a surefire way to have a great offense. And even if the defense is shaky, which I think could happen with Purdy and everything, but I just think they're going to run all over him. And I know that what did he say? Michael Sean DeGore said that like Kenneth Walker has never had above 60, 70 yards against the Niners ever in his career. Wow. I feel like this is going to be the game if it were to ever happen, this one. And it's going to just set up everything for the offense. And I don't know. I just feel I have full confidence in it.
Evan?
What am I most confident in? I think Gray Zabel is going to be who we think he is. I think he's going to be opening up some big lanes on that left side. I think he's going to be making Charles Cross play better. Like iron sharpens iron on that side of the football. I'm most confident in that. I'm trying to think what else stands out.
The wide receiver core, the Niners, like I think the Seahawks DBs match up well there. Like I know, didn't Grant say that Ricky Pearsall is like, what did he say? He was the white Odell Beckham Jr.?
He did.
Like, did he say that?
Yeah, like wasn't he playing a lot last year? Where was this last year?
I mean, the guy did get shot.
Okay.
I mean, he did. Oh, he did. I mean, I don't know if that happened, but it's kind of a big deal.
Okay, but that excuses poor route running abilities when he's healthy? Or
I mean, he did all right last year. He wasn't terrible.
He wasn't that close to being Odell Beckham. I'll just say
that. He was not. That was a big jump. And look, we're sitting here talking about the Seahawks offensive line going from being one of the worst to absolutely being the thing we're most confident in. So let's like keep ourselves a little in check here in terms of preseason hype.
Could this be the year where Trent Williams just like hits a wall age-wise?
Yeah.
And is a complete liability. Like I am praying for that.
Yeah. That'd be huge.
Let's have a little like fantasy moment. Not fantasy football.
Ooh.
If the Seahawks do blow them out, they win big. First question is, what would be the best way for that to happen? Like what would be the best aspects of that kind of win to make you feel the best? And second, what would that mean for the 49ers? What would it do to their fan base? if the Seahawks with Sam Darnold blows them out first week of the season.
Did we get an apology tweet from Jed York on Twitter after the game? Do you guys remember? Do you remember that?
Dude.
Do you remember that?
That's a good poll.
I literally just had a flashback to.
Yeah.
Was that the Thanksgiving Niners game?
Yes, Thanksgiving when we ate turkey on their field. Yeah.
They called it disrespectful, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Hopefully it results in a Jed York apology tweet. I would love to see Nick Bosa just get absolutely physically abused on the football field. Like I want them running down his throat. I want them freaking, basically pulling his pants down. Like I want Kenneth Walker running down the football field. You know what I mean? And just like grabbing his nuts in the end zone. Like I want complete physical domination on that football team. That would bring me joy.
One of my favorite things in a football game, and it's not like, I mean, obviously pick sixes and like all the like the big play moments are awesome, but like the best plays that I remember from like the LOB days are when like Drew Brees would drop back and he'd have time and he'd look around and he'd pump fake and you're like, oh no, something bad to happen. And then he throws it and there's just a guy right there and he just smacks the ball out of his face. And then it happens again. And then there's just nothing open. That's like the best feeling. I think that would be the best because it would be also the best indicator for the rest of the season too. Just if the defense is just blanket coverage all over the wide receivers.
I think you guys are hitting it. For me, it's go ahead, Evan.
No, I'm sorry. I'll finish after you.
I was just gonna say, for me, it is running for 150 plus yards, like just running pretty much at will. Sam Darnold has like 4 touchdown passes. All the runs don't have to be the scores. That Sam Darnold actually looks really good in this offense. Torrey Horton catches at least one of those touchdowns. Maybe Robbie Oots catches one of those touchdowns. Maybe Robbie Oots meets Fred Warner in the hole on one play. It's like a collision that we just get to watch over and over again. And then defensively, Byron Murphy pops. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, the Seahawks have a dude. And he looks special. And then you see actually Ernest Jones last year. That wasn't even the best version of Ernest Jones. He's really good. And then Spoon and Nicky Manwari are getting sacks. Like that is the recipe for me where it's just like, all right, this team might be better than I thought. Because I don't think any of us are talking about that as an outcome. We're just talking about like, can you win the game? And maybe there's all this mirage. But there's this other potential that maybe even we are underselling that this team might be pretty good.
So if it's not a blowout, so my second follow-up answer to this is, if you guys were following their special teams unit last year, they completely turned over their entire special teams. I think it was staff, punter, long snapper, like everybody except for Jake Moody, right? So Jake Moody is the only guy left from that position group. If they lost off a Jake Moody missed field goal, he is so hated in that fan base.
He really is.
The pain level would be astronomical for that fan base. So if I'm purely evaluating this on like my personal joy based off their misery, that's got to be up there.
Yeah. I think those are all really, really good answers. And if they do that to the 49ers, they do beat them badly. I mean, do you think the 49ers recover from that?
Let me look at their schedule.
It's a canon moment in their career.
It is. I mean, that's the thing. So they'll play the Saints. They'll beat the Saints for sure.
Oh, man. They got some easy games after us.
They have the easiest schedule in the NFL.
Guys, the Cardinals swept them last year.
Okay.
They played them in week 3. There's a realistic chance if the Seahawks beat them that the 49ers could start off 0-2 in the NFC West.
Do you remember that game in Seattle when the Rams, I think they were the LA Rams at that point, with Todd Gurley, and it was like they beat the brakes off of us, and Todd Gurley had like wide open lanes, and every Seahawk fan kind of felt like in unison, like this was a moment of like passing the torch.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
that feeling, but reverse.
Yes.
That's the feeling I want.
Yes.
And that's
I mean, that was that.
perfect.
They had like 30 something points by the second quarter or something. Right?
Bro, I've never hated a player more than I hate Todd Gurley, and that guy never did anything to me. And all he did was just do his job, and I hated him so much after that game.
Wow.
I mean, that's when the Seahawks beat the 49ers 42-13. I think it was the same. Like that year, at least the 49ers went on from their perspective. I think they got the Super Bowl that year, but it was that moment of things changing. So let's take some Patreon questions, and then we'll get to our picks here in a little bit. So let's see.
That's a great on that game, by the way. It's a
What's
great,
that?
It's just a great call out as like a pivotal moment where it felt like it was a changing of the guard in the end.
I have like negative, like I think about that like negative, like I have a negative, like it's almost like you go through a hard moment in your life. That was like, I remember that vividly as being like a depressing moment in my life.
It was amazing.
Were you at that game, Brian?
Which one?
That Rams game where
we yeah. It was hopeless. I mean, it was just
that was so bad.
I mean, I was at the Sean Alexander scoring 4 touchdowns in the first half against Minnesota game too. Like, or was it 5? Like he scored. Like I've seen both sides of it. But yeah, that was really rough. So Patreon questions, patreon.com/hawkblogger. You can ask us questions each and every week. Doe Hest, who's part of our Discord where you get to ask these questions. Josh, I'll give this one to you. How much would the Seahawks have to win by against the 49ers to make national media take notice? Or would it just go down as a first game anomaly?
Well, to make national media's notice, they seem to be, it either seems to be the Rams or the Niners for a lot of national media. So it wouldn't take a lot, honestly. I do think that like if the Seahawks beat the Niners bad, they're more likely to just like fade the Niners than to give the Seahawks credit. And I'm not just saying that as a whiny Seahawks fan. I think that people are going to eventually realize that the Niners roster is like the top 5 guys and then nothing below that.
Mm-hmm. It's an iceberg. Actually not an iceberg. Never mind.
But but I do think it would be like, I think like an 18-point win would put people on notice, like to a point where it's like they had it comfortably over with a lot of time left.
I think if Seattle wins 27-17, it's a big deal. 10-point win.
I don't think that would get national attention.
Really?
I don't.
Really? They're getting a lot of hype, guys. Like, easiest schedule in the NFL. They're back to form. CMC is healthy again. This is Brock Purdy's football team. Like, maybe I'm seeing different media, but they have a lot of hype.
I know, but I feel like I think that it would have to be more than 2 touchdowns for national media to start like giving the Seahawks credit as opposed to just like, the 49ers weren't at full strength.
Yeah.
You know, tough opening game, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But we'll see. Hey, who knows? All right. Evan, this is for you from Jen, who says, what would it look like for special teams to show improvement? I thought this was a good one for you.
Oh my gosh. Man, we had I'm kind of shocked they didn't fire the
Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Kidding me?
Are you being sarcastic, Josh, or not? I can't tell.
It was an embarrassment all year.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, I was like,
yeah, I'm on your side.
I'm shocked they did it.
That's how they improve it.
Don't repeat what they did last year.
They were a top 10 special teams by DVOA last year, guys.
DVOA is trash now, I guess.
I'm not buying it.
Washed. DVOA is washed.
DVOA is washed.
Who's returning punts? Did we get?
We don't know yet. I mean,
sign.
Could be Torrey Horton, could be Jake Bobo. I'm really hoping it's Courtney Jackson. Courtney Jackson is
bring
fun.
D Williams back.
The last
I like D Williams, but don't bring him back.
That was traumatic. Okay,
for him too.
The last time I felt joy, like when a Seahawks player was returning a punt, and I felt electricity.
I know what you're about to say.
Was Tyler Lockett returning?
I thought you were going to say Leon Washington.
No, Tyler Lockett was way more. Tyler Lockett, like before he had that injury, was a dynamic punt returner, kick returner, and I think he even had a kick return against the Bears that I'm vividly remembering, like
Yeah.
a rookie year or something like that.
I think it was a punt.
Yeah, I think I literally bought his jersey off that play, and I'm not kidding.
Let's not forget Earl Thomas as a punt returner.
Richard Sherman
I don't
too,
even
very
remember.
briefly.
Richard Sherman.
Right?
Yeah.
I would just like to
Doug
see
Baldwin
some
did
like
punt returns.
I'd like to see some electricity, like some threats, whoever it is. Like I just hope they're at least mildly dynamic.
I'm telling you, Courtney Jackson, man, watch his film. Watch Courtney Jackson returning punts. This guy I think he could be really fun. I'm really hoping that he ends up getting the call. Partially because I also don't want Torrey Horton returning punts.
I don't either.
Protect him at all costs.
Yeah.
All right. Sam Brown has a question for you, Josh. Says, who would win in an arm wrestling match, Charles Cross or Gray Zabel?
Man.
What are their weight differences? Like how?
I feel like
roughly
Charles
similar.
Cross just wins off of like seniority, but Gray Zabel seems like he does arm wrestling all the time. He just seems like a guy who would be really good at it. So
he just wakes up and finds the nearest person.
Yeah, that's his workouts. I think I'm gonna go Zabel just off the vibes.
Do not doubt the guy who spent like his childhood collecting rocks and putting them in pickup trucks. Okay, like he's winning the battle.
Fair. All right, a couple more here. Let's go up a little bit. So Brundon asks, Evan, can someone explain to me the logic behind the offensive pessimism we see now, even amongst the local beat reporters? Seems to me if absolutely nothing changed about the team except the QB and the OCs, the upgraded scheme, cohesion, and play calling from Clint's offense clearly outweighs the downgrade at QB.
Brian, I'm going to let you take this one, actually. I think you're going to have a more balanced perspective than I will.
But no one wants my balanced perspective. You have an unbalanced perspective.
No, but you're closer with these beat reporters.
I mean, I don't know what pessimism we're talking about from the beat reporters. I'll just say this. Like, the Seahawks have everything to prove on offense. I don't think anybody can walk into this season saying they know what's going to happen on the offensive side of the ball. I don't even think the players and the coaches know for sure what's going to happen. I think they know what they want to happen and they feel good about where they are. I feel a lot better about this offense than I did 2 months ago, even a month ago. But I also saw this offense for the first month during OTAs and minicamp, and it was like, oh boy, this defense better be one of the best, or this is going to be rough. So, look, part of what I've come to made some peace with, not a lot of peace, a little peace, with all the negative national press, is that when you have an unknown, people just assume it's bad. And until you prove over and over again that you're good, people are bandwagon. Like, national press is bandwagon. Like, and so they'll jump on when they see reason to, and they'll act like they're like, oh yeah, who could have possibly seen this?
Yeah.
But I think that's what's going on, and people don't want to stick their neck out for Sam Darnold and Clint Kubiak. Like, that's not going to be a take for most national people. They're not going to feel good about that take.
I also think there's just like some and this is understandable, by the way. I'm not shitting on this. Like, there's some emotional attachment with some of those guys that were Pete Carroll guys, like Geno Smith, Tyler Lockett, like DK Metcalf. Like, they cleared house mutually, it seemed. And I don't know. Yeah, like you said, there's some unknowns here. There's some question marks, and I don't know. People can just be pessimistic when it comes to that.
I will say real quick is that the team, I think, on offense, on paper, and this may be controversial, I don't know, but I think it got worse on paper if you look at the roster. Like, obviously Zabel is an upgrade, but sure. I don't know if, like, going from DK to Cooper Kupp is a downgrade to most like neutral viewer. But I think as
did Cooper Kupp have last year?
Say what?
How many fumbles did Cooper Kupp have in like the first 4 weeks last year?
Listen to my list. Let me finish my take real quick. But I don't think as a team, as a cohesive unit, I think it's way better. I think it makes more sense. I think it like just fits better. I just think like having I don't know. I love DK, but the fit just didn't match as well.
Yeah.
And I just think it just feels like more a cohesive team. And like Geno, I think is better than Sam Darnold, but I think just having Sam Darnold on this team, a guy who wants to be here and a guy who's willing to like be a part of this system, just makes more sense. And I think they're better off for it. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. All right, I'm going to ask one more question. Josh, is coming to you before we turn our attention to our picks. Swami Scoop says, do those 3 fumbles potentially prevent us from regular season Jalen Milroe this year? Ball security is no joke in this league.
Yeah, it does. It totally does. Like it's if you think about like the value he brings as a like a guy who just comes in on the field, he would be like the speedster guy who can throw, he could have like he adds another element to the offense. And you even saw like he did the tush push thing that we did in the preseason. That's like another element. But the value he brings doing that isn't enough to risk losing the ball. Like his just having a regular quarter like Sam Darnold in there is way more valuable if you're not negating the risk of fumbling in being a rookie. Like it just doesn't make any sense. The reason Taysom Hill worked out so well is he didn't have fumbling issues and he was able to take care of the ball somewhat more so than fumbling in 3 times in one game. I just think it just doesn't make any sense to bring him in. I love him clearly, but
But
it's way too risky for
did,
what you could get out of him.
did he have this problem in college though? A fumbling
A little
problem?
bit. A little bit.
Really?
It wasn't as it
Small
wasn't.
hands.
Yeah, he does have small hands. It wasn't like he was the worst fumbling guy in college, but he had his fair share of fumbles. So
It's like if he threw 3 picks in a game, you wouldn't want him throwing in the regular season. It's just like
So
it's just
what do you think are the chances we see even Jalen take a snap on Sunday? Is it 0? Like,
I don't think it's 0, but if I'm Mike McDonald, and there's a lot of reasons I am not Mike McDonald, I don't play him in this first game. Like, I just don't do that because the downside of him having a negative play, not on the team, but on him and the implications for the rest of the year are so much more like that outweighs the potential positive of him making a first down on a short yardage. Like there's other ways you can try to get that short yardage. So I would give him a week to just kind of get his feet wet and maybe even wait till week 3 when you're playing the Saints and unveil it there at home against a team that you're going to beat probably.
We saw what happened with Farrell Brown. He played like 6 snaps all year and fumbled like twice, and then now he's gone. So
he's in Miami.
So I just think fumbling is like one of the worst things you could do as a quarterback because it's.
I will say I just saw this morning might be raining on Sunday. It's mid-70s. I'll tell you this, Brock Purdy is awful in the rain. So I don't know if I'm cheering for the rain or not, but that's just one thing, and that would factor in as well. All right. Patreon.com/TalkBlogger. That is where you can go to ask us questions each and every week. Get access to the Discord channel where you can ask those questions for us. So we're doing a new thing this year. We're going to do not only game picks, we are going to make some game picks, like some player prop picks. And so we've got some player props here from Sleeper. Awesome app, sponsor of the show. And so we can go all around here. Like we can go all the way over to, let's see, kicking points. And we can say, you know what? Jason Myers less than 6.5 points. That could be our first pick if we wanted. But I don't like that because that means that the Seahawks aren't scoring. And so let's take a look. Let's take a look at the most popular ones here. You could go Christian McCaffrey over or up below fewer than half a touchdown. You could go Jackson Smith and Jigba over or below 61.5 yards.
Over. I've got him on my fantasy team.
What do you think, Josh? Over on JSN?
Yeah, over.
All right. Over on 61.5. Look at Cooper Kupp, 39.5 yards. That's a little tougher one. Sam Darnold, 206 yards. Ken Walker, 58.5 yards.
Oh, free money.
Get the over.
Yo, this is free. This is financial advice. Take the over on that.
This is not financial advice. Let's be very clear.
This is financial advice.
This is not financial advice.
32 yards for Charbonnet? Dang.
Yeah, 32 for Charbonnet. AJ Barner, 15.5 yards. I like AJ Barner touchdowns. Do we have receiving touchdowns? we've only. Oh yeah, I'm taking the over on AJ Barner on
This is so
getting a
tough week
touchdown.
1. You'd never know.
And
Like, what if Arroyo gets more play than we expect?
all right, anything else that we want to take on our picks? I think those are pretty good. We've got JSN over 61.5, Kenneth Walker over 58.5 yards rushing, and AJ Barner over having at least one touchdown.
Wait, can you do this in Washington?
Well, fair question. We work with Sleeper, and if you use promo code Hawks, you get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. So check out Sleeper today, and you too can make some picks along with us. So, boys, let's talk picks of this game. Evan, I'm starting with you, man. We're going to give Josh the advantage of a little bit extra time. Who's going to win, and what's the score?
I have been saying it for multiple weeks in a row. I've been saying it for nearly a full month, and I'm going to repeat it again. Daddy is home, and the NFC West is about to experience a cannon-level event in their coaching lives, their franchise directions. And I think this is the year that Mike Macdonald is taking this franchise to the next level. And it all starts on Sunday afternoon against the 49ers at home, a team we once feared. I fear no more. And I think Seattle is going to come out hot. I think they're going to run down their throats. I think Sam Darnold is going to look like the guy from last year. He may not put up the same stats, but I'm starting to think this was not a fluke. And I'm going to pick some touchdowns since we're on picks on the pick thing. I think Elijah Arroyo has a touchdown, to be frank. I think he comes out hot. I think Cooper Kupp has a touchdown, and I think Seattle wins. I think people are selling him. People are acting like Cooper Kupp sucks now. He does not suck. He's old. He's not that bad though. Let's be real. So
all your picks conveniently are starting in your fantasy team.
I do not have Cooper Kupp. I do not have Cooper Kupp,
but you do have Sam Darnold. You do have Sam Darnold.
I do have Sam Darnold,
fair,
and
fair.
I cannot wait till I play you, Josh. And every reception by JSN is pain. I am gonna go. They're gonna blow their socks off, and it is going to be a national media level conversation on Monday. And I may look like a complete freaking idiot. So I am going 31-16.
Okay.
Seattle.
Okay. Solid. Josh?
I want to predict a Seahawks blowout win. That's what the vibes are telling me. Everything in my body is telling me a Seahawks blowout win. But my mind tells me that these week 1 games are always random. They're weird. Like we saw this was before injury, but we saw the Saints last year absolutely annihilate teams for 3 or 4 weeks and then just fall off a cliff. And the Seahawks last year, it was a good game. They played well, but it was such a weird game. Bo Nix was so bad. We thought he was absolute trash. I'm going to say 2014. I think the Seahawks are still going to handedly win. I think it's going to feel like it's close at the end, but then they're going to come through and finish them off. And I think it's going to be mainly because the Seahawks offense is just lights out for the most part. And Brock Purdy has his own, but they just don't have enough talent.
Hey, Josh, who was the offensive coordinator of the Saints in those first few weeks last year that absolutely knocked the socks off everybody? Who was that? And is there any similarity with the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, I mean, he did fall off towards the.
Okay, but the first few weeks were something else.
Yeah, that just means you never know what to expect.
I will say this. I'm similar to Josh in that my every instinct, every piece of information I have tells me that Seahawks are going to win going away. And my mind, though, like my experience kicks in and I'm like, It just doesn't happen very often in the first week. Like, there's probably going to be some penalties. The offensive line will blow a hole open, and then they'll see a flag, and it'll get called back, and it'll be 3rd and 20, and they don't have anyone to do anything on 3rd and 20. And like, I could see all that happening, but screw that. I've got the Seahawks going 35-10 over the 49ers in this one. I think that it's going to be a very fast start for the Seahawks offense. And I think there's going to be some turnovers in this game. And I think that the 49ers are going to walk out of there wondering what happened to them.
Oh my God. This whole podcast has been Seahawks erotic fan fiction for me.
And I'll just say this, guys.
Sorry, go ahead.
You've heard me pick the Seahawks to lose consistently during last years before. So I'm not like just doing it because I do it every time. That's just kind of how I see this game going.
If they win 35-10, I am rushing the field and I am stripping naked. Okay. And I'm charging at Jake Moody. Okay. I'm charging. Okay. And I'm celebrating him. I'm picking him up.
Can you imagine his face? So all the 49ers would part the sea so that you could get to him. No one would defend Jake Moody.
Nobody would defend him.
No.
Niner fans would be cheering me on.
Oh my God. Guys, I missed a couple of super chats. Let's get through these real quick. Bam Bam Cambino says, are any of you predicting Torrey Horton to emerge as a wide receiver 2? If so, do you expect it to happen early or later on the season? Any one of you want to answer this?
These fantasy nerds I forgot about these types of people. That he might not even be a Seahawks fan. Actually, he's fan band Cam, so he probably is. Josh, you want to take this?
I want it to happen, but I've seen this happen so many. I mean, I think he's going to be good. Let me be clear. I think he's a great player, and he's going to be a contributor for us down the line. We see this so many times where a guy gets picked and they come into our team and they emerge as like a 3rd or 4th guy, and then we don't really see them much throughout the year. Like Bobo was great, but he wasn't a huge part of our offense. I think it's going to be similar to that because we have so many guys, so many mouths to feed. It's going to be hard to fit him in unless there's an injury. So unless there's an injury, I don't think he's going to be I think people are going to be generally disappointed, but when he's in there, it's going to be like a Bobo situation where everyone's hyped and he's going to make plays, but not as much.
I'll just remind folks that JSN's very good and people were calling him a disappointment into his 2nd season. So, just be kind. I think Torrey Horton's going to be a good player. It takes a little time. Josh knows who I'm talking about. Detail Car Pro says, Brian, here's the positive I have this year versus any recent past teams. We're more, quote, balanced now. If defense has an off game, I think the offense can pull off a win. If the offense struggles early, I think the defense can win it. I think that's a pretty solid take. I don't know if you guys have any thing you'd add to that. Hawk Scoots says, Brian, what do you think the K9 Charbonnet split will be this Sunday? I want to hear this from all you guys. I think it's going to be like 30 K9 to Charbonnet is my guess.
I think Charb's going to get goal line touches. I think.
I gotta say something about Charbonnet, and it's going to disappoint a lot of Charbonnet cultists. But this guy, I love the way he played at the end of last year. But can we please remember the first half of last year where he would run into a pile and he would get 1 yard and we would be like, why the hell is Kenneth Walker watching this game from the bench? And we would ask for Ryan Grubb to come down from that box he sits in and do something about it, because he just sits there and just runs one and then we punt. And I think people see that Cardinals game and are like, oh yeah, that's Charbonnet. But Kenneth Walker is still on this team for a reason. We would have got rid of him if we're not going to use him. And he's the most explosive player on our team by a large margin. And he's our number 1 running back. So I think people have kind of gotten on the Charbonnet train a little too early.
Evan with a round of applause for Josh Cashman, who did a wonderful job coming off the deep bench, called up from the minors last second to join. Best wishes to Jeff, who could not make it tonight. Thanks to Evan Hill at Evan Hill HB and Josh Cashman. Everybody, have a great rest of your night. This has been another episode of Real Hawk Talk. Take care.